Hello and welcome to part 3 of Advanced Uses for Custom Fields. This is the conclusion to the trilogy we started 3 weeks ago, so if you haven't seen parts 1 and 2, go check those out. On the ThesisReady.com blog page, you can see we have our little title which reads News and Updates, and right below that we have this little subheading which reads Updates and News from ThesisReady.com. This week we're going to show you how to recreate this effect using custom fields. Over here on our example page, you can see the effect in action. The headline reads Example Page 2, and the subheading says A Tagline for My Awesome Page. We're keeping the styling simple, as should be evident from the example page's appearance. We just really want to cover the technical ins and outs of how to do this. If I refresh this page, you can see what it looks like before this effect is added. As you can see, you would normally just have the post title here with no subheading. The biggest difference between the example this week and examples from parts 1 and 2 is that we have set the HTML framework under Design Options to full width rather than page. So make sure you do that before you get started. We're going to get started by hopping over into our customfunctions.php file, and as you can see, we still have the code from last week in here. I went ahead and dropped in a couple lines of slashes, which are just PHP comments, to separate things. The first thing we're going to do is add a filter. This filter will be applied to the Thesis Show headline area. What this will do is eliminate the section right here on all of our pages. We'll also add an action. This action will put our page title area function into the thesis hook before content area hook. Next, we'll start building our filter. We're going to call this filter Remove Headlines, and we're going to put in a conditional. This conditional will check that if it is a page, and if it isn't the home page, will return false. This means if it returns false, it will remove the header area section as we just discussed. Then we'll add this so that if it returns true, it will keep that stuff in there. That means it will stay there for individual blog posts, archives, and things like that. We'll save and refresh, and you can see that on this regular page we have eliminated the default page title area. Now we'll build the custom page taglines. As always, we're going to call our global variables into the function, and then we're going to add this more complicated conditional check. This conditional says that if it isn't the front page, but it is a single page, or it is home, or it is in the category, this all means we're making sure if we're using a custom front page, it won't affect that. It also won't affect things like posts, etc. We're going to create a new full width area now. This is because we're using the Thesis full width framework. We're creating a div with an ID of page title area and a class of full width clearfix. The clearfix part isn't important, but keep it in there anyway. Then we're creating a page. So we'll create a div with a class of page, and then we'll add a div with an ID of page title and a class of clearfix. Finally, we'll add this bit of text to align all the text to the left. You can see we have our h1 tag in here. That's where our page title goes. Within that h1 tag, we're going to add this conditional that if it is a page, we want to show the title of that page, and if it is home and it is single, meaning it's your blog page, we use our blog's page title, which in our case is News and Headlines. Lastly, we'll set it so that if it is search, we'll display search, or whatever you want in there. And then, if it is a category, we'll display the single category title. Below that h1 tag, we're going to create a paragraph. Within that, we'll add the conditional that if it is a category, we'll display the category description, and if it is home, we'll display our blog's page description, which we have as updates and news from ThesisReady.com. And lastly, if it is anything else, we'll display the page tag custom field. That's pretty much it. We'll save and refresh, and you can see our page title and description just as we wanted them. If we go back into the page edit screen in the dashboard and scroll down to the custom fields section, you can see we have a custom field with the name page-tag and a value of a tagline for my awesome page. We'll change the value to this is a new tagline and update, and then we'll update the page. And if we refresh the page, you can see our tagline changes. You can set this individually for each page as well if you prefer. The last thing we're going to do is fiddle with the CSS a bit. First, we'll set the background of the entire section to light gray, and we'll save and refresh. And you can see that the page has a light gray background, but our .page inner div is still white, so let's get rid of that. We'll set the page title area .page background to none. We'll save and refresh, and that's more like it. Next, we'll set the padding for the innermost div, and then we'll set the font weight and font size for our H1 tag. Then we'll set the font weight, font size, and margin for our paragraph tags. Then we'll save and refresh, and now everything is looking great. Feel free to mess around with this design here and get it to display things just how you would like. This is just a very basic version for the sake of having a reasonable example to show you. And as always, please send us your feedback and ideas for additional tutorials, and hit us up on Twitter at ThesisReady. Thank you for choosing ThesisReady. We'll see you next week.